Hey there, and welcome to another Kidlit Chat. I have the wonderful Chelsea Eberly with me. Hey, Chelsea, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for doing this, for hanging out with us. You are just an amazing, amazing person in the publishing world. Oh my gosh, girl, you've worked on so many awesome books.
Thank you. I feel like I've had a lot of luck and, I don't know, it's one of those things of preparation meeting opportunity and then having that little bit of luck where you just get to work with these amazing people. And yeah, it's sort of like when Ursula Nordstrom wrote Dear Genius. I feel like that is a great way to think about publishing, where you just get to surround yourself with all of these creative geniuses. And yes,
Yeah.
it's part of the joy of it.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So for those of us who are watching that are like, okay, who are you? Tell us about some of the awesome books that you've worked on, some of your faves that have been like,
Oh, oh my gosh, I don't know that I could pick one. It's like picking a child, right?
no.
I would say so. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the director of Greenhouse Literary Agency, and prior to that, I was a senior editor at Random House Books for Young Readers. So, on my editorial side, in my editorial life, um, I was fortunate enough to edit Tae Keller's "When You Trap a Tiger," which was the Newbery winner last year. And that's just a gorgeous middle grade and just really speaks to what I love to work on, that sort of magical realism and layered storytelling. And then, on the agenting side, I've got the chance to, should I tell about like one of my clients' books right now? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's totally good.
So I wanted to show you guys all Drew Leclair Gets a Clue.
Ooh.
What I love about this middle grade, it came out March 1st, so it's available now. It's by debut author Katherine Berry, and it's sort of a modern day queer telling of Harriet the Spy,
Ooh.
where Drew, who's named after Nancy Drew, of course, because middle grade mystery,
Yeah.
she is sort of like a future murderino. She loves true crime, she loves mysteries, and she's never met a problem that a crime board couldn't solve. So when a cyberbully starts posting like mean rumors and things on Instagram about her classmates, she decides she's going to get out all of her notebooks of all of her observations, and she's going to profile all of the bullies in her grade. So what I love about this and how it speaks to my taste is that kids can come to this and be like, I'm here for the mystery. This is just a great voicey mystery, lots of friendships. I'm profiling all the bullies in your grade. Like, it's just really interesting how you would do that and how
Yeah.
you deal with bullies. But then there's so many layers. Drew is dealing with family relationships, friendship relationships. She's discovering her sexuality, and she's realizing that like, that's actually like who you want to be as an adult
Yeah.
is like the toughest mystery to crack. So it has layers.
I love it. So that seems to be a theme because you mentioned it a few books, layers. So if someone is like, okay, I don't know what that means, would that be like more in like the subplot, or do you think that's more like the development of the character, like creating like real people and getting to that emotional?
Oh gosh, I think it's two pronged.
Yeah.
You're thinking, okay, what's the plot? What are the plot beats of this story? What's the high concept elevator pitch? But then you're thinking, what are the themes that I want to delve into, and then how is that going to relate to the plot? So with Drew, it was sort of like, okay, we're going to tell a mystery, but we're also during that mystery going to discover layers about the characters and have clues and it's all going to sort of come back to discovering yourself, even though she's trying to discover who the culprit is, but she's realizing she's really pulling out the sort of like the secrets she's been hiding from herself along the way. So just kind of using plot to uncover things about character can be really important.
Yeah. And sometimes even as a writer, you like will find those as you get going too. Like if you don't have them in the
Absolutely.
beginning, you can be like halfway through and go, oh, I have to rewrite that whole thing.
Absolutely. I think it can be so helpful to have conversations with critique partners and with your agent and editor and, hear what they got out of the read and be like, oh my gosh, yes, that was what I was trying to say. And you
Yeah.
might have written the entire book and then kind of realized what you were trying to say, like what your message
Yeah.
was. And then you go back through and you pull out those elements and you add to it and you elaborate and you deepen it. And that's the joy of revising. Oh, excuse you.
Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And I I think that's like the fun part of writing like a middle grade like that, or like even a YA.
Oh,
So is this going to be a series?
yes, hopefully. I mean, well, there is a book too. Drew
Okay.
Leclair crushes the case, which is all about sort of middle school crushes and also
Ooh.
solving a case. So it's another layered one. But yeah.
Yeah. Who did that one come out through? What's the publisher on that?
Well, originally HMH, but then of course, in the way that publishing has gone over these past few years, now Harper, with Clarion being the imprint.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. Well, guys, you're gonna have to go check it out. But I have a question then. So you were in editing and you did all the, awesome books and you did all the things. You worked for a great publisher, but then you swapped. So what made you want to become an agent?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like as an agent, I get to bring my full authentic self to the table in a way that I think can be really hard sometimes as an editor, where you're representing a big publisher or you're representing an imprint. When you're acquiring for yourself purely, you can acquire just all the books that you enjoy, that you love. And that is the goal. And I think that is what the majority of editors do get to do. But you're also acquiring for a big house, you're acquiring for an imprint, you're acquiring for a specific publisher. And where you are, what imprint you're in, determines sometimes what you can bring in. Are you at a house that does literary? Can you only do picture book? Can you only do, like, if you're at a genre imprint, like you can only do sci-fi and fantasy and things like that. And I think as an agent, you have so much opportunity to really just find the people you want to work with. And then one of the joys of it is matchmaking and finding the people at whatever house is most appropriate for that project. And just, being able to make those connections, which is really nice. I really like working closely with authors too. And the higher I was getting promoted, the more I was just in meetings. Editors are stretched really, really thin. So it's nice to sort of own my schedule in a new way and to be back to like really working closely as an advocate for my clients.
Right. And you probably really enjoy like the getting in with like the manuscript. And sometimes when you work up so far, like you kind of don't get to touch it as much,
You definitely have less time and you have to carve out that time on nights and weekends. And there's something to be said for trying to find that work-life balance for sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like work-life balance and work and doing all the things, because now we all work at home and all the stuff, but you are a coffee drinker and so am I. I love it. So the question is, are you like let's make the espresso go fancy, or are you, it's a black cup of coffee, I'm drinking it cold?
I am definitely a latte drinker. I need the espresso and I need the milk. When I straight black coffee, it just is like a little bit too much for me. But I'm not too precious about it. And I'm the type of person who will reheat that cup of coffee or whatever.
Right. Sometimes you just get to going and you forget that you have it. So you're like, oh, it's noon, let me reheat this.
Yes, I'm definitely, I zap it as often as needed. And I used to, as I'd go into Random House, there was this cognac cafe across the street and I'd come in, it was almost like my security blanket. I just had to have my latte every morning, it's why I can't buy a house now apparently, but.
Right. Don't listen to them if you have to Francis. I love it. But that is kind of fun though. We all get to work from home now and your commute is shorter and you might have more space. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I really love that publishing has allowed people, I mean, the pandemic is obviously an awful reason to have this opportunity, but I'm glad that people are seizing the moment and doing what's best for them and their life, their families, their mental health. It's really great. A great thing for publishing to sort of loosen that chokehold of needing to be in the city, and there's a lot more opportunity, I think, for people to manage on publishing salary and be able to enter the industry, hopefully.
Yeah, and still be able to work in that, because that's the thing, like we don't want to lose you guys. We want as many of you as possible. So final question for you. What is something that someone wouldn't know about you that they would find like unexpected?
Oh my gosh. That is a tough one. I should have come up with this previously. I am a water skier, I guess, would be something that people don't know. And I grew up learning, like, being on the water and water skiing, so I can get up on one ski and do the slalom thing. It's, and you wouldn't, I'm one of those people who usually sits in a chair and is just reading. So I think my friends are always really surprised to see me like doing something sporty in that way, but it's like riding a bike. When you learn that when you're young, you kind of don't forget it.
Yeah, so adventurous. Oh my gosh, I'm not a swimmer. No.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think it's a surprising thing, because you picture people in their library with their books and things like
right?
that.
We don't all do that. Even if you have a beautiful stack of books behind you.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us and for taking the time to do this. Guys, oh, for sure. Guys, if you want to learn more about Chelsea and all of her awesome authors and find out where you can get all of her books and connect with her clients, go to greenhouseliterary.com. That's her agency, and go and check it out. Thanks so much, Chelsea.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. This was great.